Let's call the meeting to order. Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. Tom Bass. Alan Donaldson.
Yes.
Andrew Clemmons is absent. Cindy Clemmons.
Yes.
Candy Wade. Here. Public comments.
I just wondered about the tree situation. Are you going to give a report on that at all in town, the trees in town? How many more or?
All of them.
Who said that?
Yes.
Crazy.
Who's on the committee?
Whatever the update.
I don't know what I didn't get to talk to the guys today. They were at like 30 and I'm assuming they're halfway through that,
They're
3/4 with.
dangerously close.
To being finished? Or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I would say by the end of this week, they should have it.
And can I just ask, like, is there a budget, like how much we paid them, or is there any information on that? How much money we get, or where the
Still-
money's gone, or?
We're still working with FEMA to get paid. We'll probably have to take a low interest loan out through the state. It'll be 300,000 plus.
And that kid has to wait until the,
No, we'll have to take a loan out through the state and pay him, then we'll be waiting on the FEMA money. Cedar Rapids just got paid from the floods 2 years ago, so.
From 2 years ago?
yeah.
So you're looking at a potential of 2 years?
Yep.
Biden's gonna make that all better, Alan.
I don't want to hear any more about it.
I got one. Are you done, Marilyn?
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I think you guys might know about this, but you know, through the the emergency management guy, you know, they have that notification thing. And I thought of it, I talked to Alan and Steph about this when we had the water leak up in front of our house, you know. And if people would sign up for this, then that's something you can use to get the information out to the people. You know, you just put it out there and everybody will get an alert on their phone, you know, to say that, hey, don't, you know, boil your water before you use it or whatever.
Yeah.
And just another thing, I know, I think, are you guys in the process of getting an email distribution list together or something?
Well,
Because
I couldn't download mine. I know somebody requested it, but I can't get it to share unless somebody's smarter than me.
well, that's not me, I can tell you that, when it comes to technology. But I just want to remind you that the library has their email distribution list, and yes, we wouldn't be, you know, it's only as good as the people that have signed up for it. But it's another place that you can use for communication to people. You know, because I think that's been some of the, you know, issues and stuff with different things we've had going on. So Laura's more than happy to put anything out there. She's not gonna type anything up for you, but if you submit something to her, she'll distribute it, So I don't know, obviously this has been at my house for a while. It might have a little coffee stain on it. But do you guys want this? Or just talk to Thomas about it or something? Or you want me to give it to Pauline or?
Yeah.
I've signed the city up actually for it, so. I wasn't aware we could use it.
But
I thought it was
it's another thing that,
Yeah.
you know, that
Yes.
people have to sign up for themselves, you know, to be able to get that information and how they want to get the information. But I think people would, you know, because I know when we had the water thing, it was like, I didn't know I was supposed to boil my water or whatever. And I drank it anyway. Okay,
We had the water shut off, and we didn't know we were gonna have water shut off.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was.
Also, I was wondering why we can't have this put in our water bill? So we'll know when the city council meeting's on, what's going on. What's so hard about
It's the
that?
second Tuesday of every month.
Pardon me?
It's the second Tuesday of every month at 6:30.
Well, yeah, if you're here, but what's so hard putting it in the water bill?
Well, the problem is we don't know sometimes we don't know the agenda until maybe just a day or two before stuff is being added to the agenda all the time.
Could you add that too? We're not sure.
Not get it in the water bill by the time of the meeting.
it's another place maybe the library distribution could be used too, though. you know.
Possibly, but, yeah,
We
this,
do post it though, right?
Yeah,
It's
the post
posted,
office
post
and then-
office,
I won't
bank.
tattle, but it
Junior
wasn't.
I know, well,
I wasn't
it
good for the
was,
time.
at one time, somebody must have decided they were unpleased or
Okay.
displeased with it, but, yeah, it was there in the bank, in the Ginger Snap, and I sent one to Laura, but you said she didn't have
No,
one,
she
so
didn't
I,
She accidentally, it was just a communication thing this month, but normally we have one at the library too.
they're up.
Any other comments? All right, approval of agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
All right, roll call, Tom Bass,
yes,
Alan Donaldson,
Yes.
Andrew Clemens is absent, Cindy Clemens,
Yes.
Candy Wade.
Yes.
All right. Approval of consent agenda, December 8th, 2020 minutes and claims paid.
They're in the paper, I sent them in your emails, and there's 2 copies right there, if anybody wants to glance through them.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, roll call, Tom Bass,
yes.
Alan Donaldson.
Yes.
Andrew Clemens is absent, Cindy Clemens,
Yes.
Candy Wade.
Yes.
All right, reports.
Okay, clerk's report is included in your packet. So pretty much, the general fund stuff's on the front and like the bank accounts and stuff are on the back. So, and again, the difference between those 2 numbers is listed in that series of totals on the back. So why they are changed. So obviously our emergency budget is down 100. You wonder how far so far emergency costs have been $170,760 so far. That we don't have. So,
Looks like Roy sent us a report.
well, you just see Inspector 2 has it, so I don't know. So he's in with Cindy and that's,
Did everybody get these?
no, they just,
Oh,
no,
it's just-
Cindy just brought them
Okay.
right now.
I just didn't know if he didn't even know who I was supposed to give them to. He said John asked for them.
Yeah. I don't even know which one properties they are, for sure.
206 Perry Street and 703 Main Street.
Be
Oh.
a block south of Davis Street on Main, half a block. Middle of that block.
So we need to contact the homeowners.
You have to, yeah, you should, if you have them come down, but yeah,
Yeah.
you would need to pass that. Unless you want your lawyer to handle that to make sure what's going
Probably
on.
be a better, yeah,
Perhaps.
yeah. That'd be a better.
Well, there's other ones in town too. I don't know why they weren't taken care of.
Well, at some point, if you have a committee, you can make
Yep.
a list.
Yep.
And that would be,
Should come around and do.
okay, yeah, I'm just, as we try to
Alright.
proceed.
Looks like we got the sheriff's report in there.
Yes.
They were
I brought
busy,
them up.
Yeah, you read them all. Okay, $150. That's
Yep.
not bad.
real busy.
There's 2 addresses.
And Rhonda's here to do her report. Thank you, Rhonda. She's the walking
And
wounded.
no leak? We didn't think there's a leak?
I don't think there is just yet.
Okay,
I went back 6 months worth of water records to see the daily stuff after Dennis and I talked about it, and I said it's bouncing around.
oh,
That leads me to believe it's not a leak. And I'm trying, last night, sorry guys,
I know.
Yep, please.
Last night, I sat down with the records again, and I'm trying to find a pattern to see if there's something that we can say, okay, it's been 4 days, and then it jumps down, and then it goes back up, and then it's 5 days, and it goes up, and then it goes back down. I'm looking to see if I can find that pattern, and that might give us some indication as to what to look for, but none of it has pushed anything to any extreme. I just gotta keep looking, but at this point, we're not off from what we were a year ago, so I don't think it's that big a deal. It may be something that's slow right now, and it's gonna break loose when everything warms up, but,
So where are we talking? I don't know anything about it.
no, Dennis called me the other day, and he was concerned because he thought that the water usage was a little high. What he had seen for 3 or 4 days, he thought looked higher than it had been before. And so he was concerned he had a leak. He was gonna have John go drive and see what he could find. Problem with that is, if we have a leak right now, it's dry enough that it's going down instead of coming up. It's also cold enough that there's not much frost in the ground, but it's not gonna come through that unless it's really gushing, and it's not gushing. And then when I went back and looked at the records, I said, no, I don't think we need to get too concerned about this yet. I think if we see it spike and then stay up, then I'm worried about it. And so Dennis is gonna be sending me the numbers on a regular basis now, just so that I'm watching every few days and looking at it. When we're in town once a week, we don't typically see those numbers because he's not around. But I think that's one of the things, and I've got several others that are doing the same thing. That, I see the numbers once a week instead of waiting until once a month. And it makes for more eyes on the issue if there is one. Maybe find it a little faster. But he, like I said, he saw it and said, this doesn't look right, I think it's too high. But then within the next couple of days, the numbers that he had come back down again. So, something's out there, but I don't know that it's a leak for that portion of it. I do know that when I looked at water usage for November and then again in December, from November to December, what we recorded, we were down another, from October to November, we were down almost 500,000 gallons, and from November to December, we were down another 250,000 gallons, or 250,000 gallons. The ones that I had just reported. So it's not, I don't think it's out of line. My big thrill was the fact that the wastewater flows, for whatever reason, and there's still an issue out there, we went from 2 million to 1 million from October to November. And then the December one is still down. So that one I saw today. I have to calculate. So it's improving as well.
Yeah,
It's still, and it's right in line with what our water flows are. That's the nice part about it.
yeah.
But it's that flippin' dry too, that makes a difference. The water project is moving slowly. Dan, who is working with us from Municipal Supply, has a health issue right now, and that's put him in the hospital. So we're kind of on hold to see what's going on. Colleen and I were talking about it. Municipal is willing to send out somebody else and see if they can pick up the pieces and keep us moving forward. Personally, for what we're doing, I would prefer that we see what Dan's prognosis is before we let somebody else come in and start all over with everything. At the same time, and this is another reason I want to slow it down a little bit, I now again have 2 other communities that are interested, and if I can get them to do the same thing that you guys are doing, we can start to bring everybody's costs down. And that's what I'm in discussion with Municipal on that right now. The cost per unit, the cost for the software. If I can roll some of this stuff together, I can start to drop your expenses with it. You guys get yours all done, and then the other 2 step in. They'll get some benefit from working together, and you guys are kind of left out in the cold. So, and I've gone, as of this morning, I've gone over Dan's head to a couple of the owners at Municipal to ask for some of those considerations, since I knew he was in the hospital, and that way I can keep the other 2 towns working as well. Also, Dennis and I had talked about some of the rust issues and the weaknesses at the well house that come with humidity and age. And Cahoy is going to be down in Albion next week to work on a well down there, and while they're in town or in the area, I'm gonna have at least one or two of the guys come up and take a look at the well house to see what it is they need to do. One, we need to have the well pulled, it has not been done now since it was put in, so it's time for it to be serviced. Make sure the pump is still in good condition, but we know that there's some issues with some of the valves and both nuts and bolts in that building. And I asked them to give us a cost as to what it's gonna take to replace some of that stuff. The aging, some of that stuff wasn't changed out when they put the new pumps and everything in there at the building. And they're showing their age, they really are. Dennis is very concerned, and as am I, that we're putting 120 pounds of pressure on some of those nuts and bolts, and we're not sure how stable they are because they're so rusted. So I want them to look at it and see what they can tell us as far as, it's gonna take this amount of dollars and this kind of time, it's something we can do, we think you should go see it. And I had this conversation with Mike from Cahoy. He said, we'll take a look at it and tell you what it's gonna cost to have us do it. And if we think you can get a local plumber to do the same thing, you need to have them come in and do it, and we will tell you that. If they can do it considerably cheaper than we can, then we're not gonna overcharge you for that, just to come up and take care of it. But he wants to look at it first to see where we're at. And if they can do it at the same time as they pull the well, then it does get cheaper, that's what I'm looking at. So that's everything that I can think of on the water side. Any other questions? Oh, one other thing. The fire hydrants. I was unaware that they had replaced a couple of fire hydrants and unaware that the water was off and that there was a problem with that during the course of the day. Found out who the contractor was that did that little stunt, and I will have a conversation with him tomorrow because he knows better. We should have been, if they had the water off for that long, we should have been here pulling special samples and putting people under boil advisories and stuff like that, and we were not aware of it. So, and like I said, that particular contractor knows better. He should never have just done it that quietly and just shut off the water and keep going. So, yeah.
How did it work?
Well, and yeah, and apparently they must have found a decent, because we've had quite a few of them, a decent day to work, which I don't deny them that. But you also have to have some planning in the process so that the city has the ability to say to people they're gonna be doing this and they're doing this in 48 hours, and so be prepared. And the water's gonna be off, we don't know exactly for how long. If we've got those steps in place, when we step back into the water's being turned on and the testing that has to be done and everything, everybody's ready for it. And then you don't have a whole bunch of upset people in town. That's the way it's supposed to. And I don't blame them, I don't blame them at all. So, you know, like I said, I'm gonna give those folks a call and say, what the were you doing? Because he knows better. Yeah, he was looking for something to do that day because he had a nice day and that was on the schedule, and he figured that's when he could pull. I'm sure that's what it was. But we can't do it on that short a notice, not unless it's an emergency that somebody broke a fire hydrant and it had to be replaced immediately. Now, the paperwork that she brought in that has the one that told you about the phone numbers and the blast calls basically that you can do
Yeah.
is the Code Red or the Iowa Warn. Both of those are the same thing. We can set it up through FEMA. We have several other communities that have it. The biggest issue you have is people have to sign up for it. We can't just automatically start making phone calls based off, one town did pull all the phone numbers from their billing records, and they set it up without everybody's knowledge, and they got in trouble with the state. So we really don't want to do that. We have to take the steps to send out a survey or send out a notice to everybody that this is what we're gonna do, so that we can funnel this through FEMA, give us your information if you're willing to be a part of it, and then we pass it on to them. It's a step that's gonna take some time, but it does work really slick when you've got it in place. So, yeah, if we can do that here.
Via this, like the emergency management thing you're saying? Okay,
Mhm.
same.
All the same stuff.
Same thing.
It's all the
Okay.
same thing.
I'm sorry.
Code Red is, and Iowa Warn are just two other names for it. And what it amounts to is you collect the data, and then it goes into a database with FEMA or with the county emergency management. So when we have a place where, okay, water's gonna be off, we've got an emergency, we've got a water main break, we've got a the water's gonna be out for whatever for the day. You make one phone call to emergency management, they go to the city of Union, hit the button, and everybody gets a phone call once.
Phone call, email,
Yeah.
however
Well,
you sign up for
typically we set them up with phone calls anymore, they don't, because they're reaching out to cell phones and stuff like that. The emails is a totally separate list, so that makes, isn't more of a challenge. But what I know we can't do is just take the information from their billing data, their billing information, and dump it in and use it. We're not allowed to do that.
I'm gonna
There's
think
something
that's what
called-
sharing the email, I think that's a privacy.
Yeah.
We'd have to ask each and every person, so each
Well,
and every
but they're
person.
signing up, each and every person has to
They have to sign
for
up.
this.
You can't
It's not
just take
your-
it. but
Yeah,
you
I
can
know,
have-
but when we're speaking about sharing my email list,
Yeah,
I don't think that's probably kosher either.
Well, you wouldn't,
Privacy
Yeah.
concerns.
you don't.
I don't want people giving out, I don't want the city giving out my email to anybody who asks.
And we, yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
on the wastewater side, like I said, flows have been down, but it's been dry, so it's been really nice. When it gets wet again, I know it's gonna go right back up. Did I bring it with me? I did. We have had CIT out and do the televising. I don't know, well, I had her send that to all of you. Did you all see the email from CIT? Which shows us, by golly, we got at least 5 manholes out there. Surprise. So for us, the next step is, what do? We really don't need an engineer involved in order for us to say we're gonna go out and dig them up and then go ahead and figure out how we're gonna bring them to the surface or get them sealed. But from what I have talked with the guys who were running the camera that day, they're leaking pretty good right there in those spots. They're tied right in. And it's field tile, because it's being tied into the sanitary sewer. We gotta get it disconnected. So I am going to start working on that, try and get some guys out to take a look at the videos and figure out what we've got out there, because if we're gonna tear it up, we gotta do it before farm field gets started. And otherwise, we sit and wait on it until next fall. And if we can move it faster than that, I would certainly like to.
Yeah, there's at least 3 in that farm field. I was out there Saturday and looked.
That you could see,
That they've got them flagged off.
they've already got them flagged,
Yeah.
because we've got a list of 5 with the potential for 2 more.
Right,
So it's like, yeah, we need to get something done.
Is
yeah.
there a purpose for the manholes?
At the time that they were done, because of the stretch that is there, and this is even in town or wherever it's at, every so many feet, there's to be another access into the line in case there's an issue. But that also means that manhole has to be brought to the surface so you can access it if you're gonna have it there. If you put the manhole container in the ground with the pipe and leave it there and just put the lid on top of it, and then dump the dirt on top of it, it doesn't take long for it to become another siphon, and that's where it goes. You know, it's a low spot, it's an access, and the water just flows to it. And that's basically what they found. If you put in a manhole, the idea is it's supposed to be brought to the surface. I would guess at the time that was built, that was included, they didn't want to disrupt the farm field, so they put it in down there with the intent that, well, if they ever had a problem, they would go out to wherever they're at and dig them up, and then dump the dirt back on top of them again, and that's not what we're supposed to do. Over at Liscum, we raised 3 of them, and we dropped our water flows that we were scrambling with, and we're having issues with, by about 30%. 10% per manhole, and I think we've got more water here than we have over there. So we just gotta keep moving on it. Now that we know they're there, if we had that done at the very, very beginning, like we'd asked, that would have been a whole different story, but we can't look back, we gotta keep going forward. And like I said, I did find out from the DNR, we do not need to have an engineer involved to bring those manholes to the surface or get them sealed or do whatever we decide we're gonna do with them. So we can move that forward on our own.
So we can seal them if we need to?
We can't seal all of them, but we could certainly seal a portion of them. It's gonna be a matter of what does that manhole actually look like when it's exposed? How deep is it really? That's gonna be another part of it. And then, you know, whether it's cement it, wrap it, replace it with solid pipe, those are the things we have to look at. So, yeah, we've had a perfect winter year to be able to do that. It's been so dry. If we get a second dry year, it may not please everybody else, but it would be good for that project. So, those are the things that I had, I think. I was also going to tell, tell Colleen if you'll get me the sewer and water stuff, finances, budget sheets, I will work on those for you. I'm starting to do budgets now, so that people are getting them back over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And hopefully we get you set up then for 20, you know, I'm looking at some of these kind of projects and trying to put dollars to them so that we look at the budget that way and make sure that they're taken care of. Okay, so yeah, if you'll email that stuff over to me, I'll pull it and see what it looks like compared to last year and then go forward.
Okay, so you just want the profit and loss for sewer and water?
I want whatever you set up for a budget sheet, for the council to see, send me a copy of it for water and sewer. And I will pull what I've got for expense sheets and stuff from the last year, and then what projects we're talking about, to make sure we've got everything covered. Trying, you know, the only thing I don't mess with is salaries and benefits for you guys. I don't do any of that, but the actual expenses for chemicals and equipment and repairs and maintenance and that kind of stuff, yes, I'll pull into that. Okay? Yes.
Couple things. Half of the expenses for the visual, we need a bill to someone.
The engineer, right?
Okay, do we have all that information, Colleen? And I'm sure we've been billed for that, and half of that bill goes to.
Right, and I think I talked to you, and we pay it, and then
We have
they're
to submit the
supposed.
bill to GEO.
Okay,
We have to
so
submit the whole bill down to
for the televising part,
Yeah.
anything we got from CPF.
okay.
And then the other question I had was where we at on the explosion-proof box thing for the sewer? That's been some
That's what I
chatter
was gonna ask
going
too.
on.
You know what, and you're talking about out of
Yeah.
the waterproof stuff that's sitting in the ground that's not supposed to be? I had a conversation last week with Jason from Electric Pump, and that was one of the things that was brought up. They had submitted a quote to us to take care of it, and I think it got dropped right there because it was a lot higher than we thought it should be. But I want to talk to the guys at JEO about that as well. Is that something that we pay, that we have to go back on the contract?
should
They
be
said it was
nothing.
going back to H&K.
Yeah.
Okay,
Those guys are supposed to take care of it.
Yeah,
okay,
that should be nothing to do with ours.
Okay.
We should just get it done, I think.
all right. But we
Or if
don't
it
have,
has to go by you, I don't know, for
no,
approval, I don't know.
Their original email said that we did not have to use H&K, we could use a contractor of our choice, but they
Okay.
were supposed to take care of the bill.
okay, so I can go ahead and tell Electric Pump to get out here
I
again.
would talk with Lucas again and make sure that
Okay.
H&K is,
Okay,
because that was supposed to be there, that was their end of the deal, because it was done completely wrong.
Yes,
yeah,
yes. So
Okay.
we might can still get that done this winter if it
Yes.
stays like it is.
yes. Well, and they are asking about it. They had, like I said,
Well,
they had
there's been
submitted
some
such a.
email chatter, that's why I
Yeah.
was wondering.
Yeah, so I will follow up with that and see what I can, I'll put that on my list for tomorrow too. I have to be in Des Moines and I'll stop and talk to them. My list is growing for them. Okay, I will follow up with that as well, Tom.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Are you gonna deal with the bill to CIT?
Just forward it to JEO, to Lucas?
Yes, forward to JEO. And I know I have seen it. And to be real honest with you,
It's here on
Yeah.
our whatever.
Yeah.
They did it, and I thought it did go to them, but I'll send it to them again. And also that they, to do the whole project, that I had something from Simmering and Corey, that for every one of their change orders, did they check with the DNR, and they're supposed to be responding to that.
JEO, okay.
Well, yeah, they proceeded with the chain orders, so
Okay,
they would have. So, I mean, maybe they've done it, maybe that's okay. I forwarded that to Lucas, but if you're talking.
yeah. Okay, I'll do with all of those tomorrow. And see what I can find. And we'll at least rattle his chain and make sure that he deals,
Stays on it.
he gets on it or looks at it. And I'm going directly to Lucas, right? We're not dealing with Steve anymore?
Lucas is who I've talked to.
Okay, I will do that. is there anything else you want me to talk to Lucas about, Alan? Okay. That way you won't have to. I'm trying.
Nope.
Okay, anything else from any of you guys?
Do you wanna be here if they come with that equipment, or do you wanna know they're coming,
I
or?
wanna know they're coming, I do not have to be here.
Okay,
Like I said, I'm gonna make a phone call to them in the morning when I hit
Right.
the road. I know I can talk to them by 7:15. And so I'll ask the guys what's going on, and if they can give us any idea what Dan's status is, I'll have him give you a call and let you know either way who's gonna come, when, okay?
thank you.
Yep. Anything else?
Moving on. Thank you,
Check
Ron.
it. I'll report on the ambulance just a little bit.
Oh,
So the ambulance is in dire need of some exterior lights. They're not visible in the bright sunlight and the snow. I know they're putting together some possible fundraisers and different stuff. They're also in need of people to be on the crew. So if you know of anybody that might be interested, you might push them towards it. Because we're down to 2 people.
What does that mean, the crew? Is that drivers or do they have?
Drivers or EMTs.
you can be a driver if you have a CPR. I volunteer.
With your whole spare
Yeah. Got Saturday and Sunday. Well, Sunday. I do work Saturdays now. Is that it?
Yeah.
All right, discuss an action, library presentation to the council.
That's me.
You're up.
Normally Laura comes with me, and the school finally opened things up, so she had a chance to go to granddaughter's ball game for the first time this year, so she went, so you're stuck with me. So,
no.
yeah,
Is this what she was, I got her message and I just haven't.
I just want to make sure we could get on the agenda, because this is
Yeah.
the time we usually always.
And she used your signature.
Yeah, I gotta stop up there.
um, Just want to say, we're really, really lucky to have Laura. She guides us through some of the state rules and bureaucracy, keeps up on all of that stuff. She's kind to all the people and she's dedicated to the library. And because of that, she seems to draw a lot of volunteers in, so we get a lot of volunteer help and stuff there. We started the year pretty good, and then COVID hit, like everything else. And I know, Alan, you were in touch with Laura and Karen quite a bit, because wondering what, our responsibilities were, closing down, what, and all of that. So we honored all of those wishes, and then we opened back up as the rules allowed. And just again, I want to give a plug to Laura. She did like home deliveries, where she'd just go drop a bag of books off on somebody's door. She did that at the library. She'd set a bag of books outside, and then they could bring a bag of books to turn in and take a bag of books. So I guess, she just deserves a pat on the back, because I think she went over and above to try to keep everybody that likes to read all supplied with all of that stuff. Year in review, you can look at that. We have a lot of stuff going on at the library, and I don't know if you guys know all of that stuff. Let's see, I had a couple of things on the technology one there. I don't know, I'm a big one. I use the online books. You can check out books through the library for free. But you can do it, load them to your Kindle, your iPad, your computer, whatever you want to. And there's also audiobooks that you can do. And so that seems to be picking up a lot, and we're really trying to get people informed about that and how to do that. I like it because I can read and not wake up grumpy beside me. It's got a light on the books. Then, I don't know if you guys know, we put in reading patio is what we're calling it. But it has bricks there, and, because we had some interest from people, they wanted somehow to preserve their family name or something is somewhere. And so then you can buy a brick in memory, you can, say the 4-H wants to buy a brick, you know, just to put whatever they want to on it. You know, I'm trying to think of some other examples, you know, any kind of groups or anything can do that. So we've just got that going now. So Laura will be sending out some information about that. So Laura put in here, she wanted to thank the council and John. John's been just great with, anytime we have something that needs to be done at the library, he gets on it. He just seems to be really handy and has helped us out a lot. Let's see. And as always, we just always want to share, you know, the library isn't just a place to check out books. We really feel like we're meeting the needs of a lot of people. We've got a lot of things going on. You know, people come in just to chat, to read the paper. We got coffee groups coming in, all kinds of different kind of stuff. So we've got a meeting place here in town. Right now, we are working on a grant to update the electrical in the library. So it'll be a few months before we know if we get that or not. Because right now we have surge protectors kind of in a lot of places. And, oh yeah, we can't plug anything else in there because we got this one plugged in. So we're hoping that we can make that happen. So, and it will be a matching grant, but we think we can handle that. So, and of course, I'm always here for the money part of it, but we're trying to, we know that things are not good with everything that's gone on this year and everything. So we're just wanting to be able to maintain what we've had in the past. So that's all we're asking for there. So any questions?
So this is really your
That's our total budget.
21-22 budget?
Did I label that wrong? I am so sorry.
I'm just, yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
you're
a
right.
repeat of last year's, it's
No.
what you want for next year.
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
I
all
just-
right. I just,
Sorry about that. I had it labeled once, must not have saved it. So if everybody will change that. So any
Okay.
questions? Which it is pretty much the same as last year.
yeah, well, that's what I just didn't know if you're reminding us of last year
No,
or. okay,
No, you're
that's-
totally right, Colleen. Thanks for
Okay.
pointing that out. So,
Well, sometimes I'm kind of far behind.
okay, that's all I have. And then there's a list, just post the page there. You guys always want a list of who's actually on the board, the library board. So that's your current library board there.
You left Alan's name on.
Mr. Donaldson?
I don't think these are voted in right here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. As always, stop in if you got any suggestions or anything. We're as always willing to take book requests, movie requests, all that kind of stuff. So
Is she there tomorrow?
what is tomorrow's stuff? Wednesday.
Wednesday.
You'll have to call.
Okay, I know I need to
I
stop
know it's
in
been a
and
little,
sign that grant,
yeah,
so,
just
Okay.
email or text her or something.
okay. Designate Eldora Herald Ledger as the official newspaper. The motion.
Motion.
I second it. All right, roll call, Tom
Thank
Bates.
you.
Yes.
Oh. Thank you. Oh, okay, Alan Donaldson, Andrew Clemmons is absent, Cindy Clemmons?
Yes.
Candy Wade. All right, FY 2022 budget.
Start.
Okay.
And the fire department probably needs to present one, and we just have a lot. There's a maximum levy, you know, they made us have 2 hearings, and that continues this year, but I can't get on the website, get the thing ready. I want it ready for tonight so we have to publish it, so if we want the hearing before our next meeting, the day it has to be in, to be published on a Tuesday, is it needs to be published on the 26th, so we would have to have it in by the 21st. That's the max levy, but we still need to discuss that. So, and after that, then the budget probably needs to be reset at the March meeting and due by March 15th. So we're kind of in the, and I know it's going to be hard to determine a budget with all of the money for the tree removal and everything, so yes.
So what's Troy need?
All budget from the fire department.
Okay.
We need to have another meeting next week.
That probably wouldn't hurt. So you don't just get too far behind, and I can provide the levy information, and you just, if you want the same rates as last year, then, then it's not much of a decision. If you needed to raise, you wanted to raise the tax rate, then that's what you'd have to
We
decide.
have to, we don't have an option.
Well, yeah.
Well,
So
let's set a
that
meeting
would,
date.
that'll, I don't care.
Let's go Tuesday, 6:30 again.
Are you gonna do it sooner?
Or you wanna do it Monday?
No, I'm talking time sooner.
Oh. Can we? Well,
We can schedule wherever we want.
I guess I,
It all depends
It's
on
more
when people are gonna be
Well,
home.
you're kind of the person
Yeah.
who's, I mean, you have your business, so you can, if you can leave or you have some sort of project. I
let's go
can
6
be-
o'clock. Tuesday,
Tuesday the 19th?
yep. Moving on. Okay,
We're on the cover then.
okay,
Yeah.
is that water meter ready? Okay,
Yeah, and I was just gonna, yeah, so she basically discussed what I was gonna tell you about it, so,
okay.
yeah.
Hydrant replacement, is that what she was talking about too?
Yeah,
Or,
we had it done. I don't know, is any more scheduled for this year, or is this,
No,
that's
they're
it
all
for the
in.
year? Okay,
Right now.
okay.
okay.
We can do 3 more.
Reimbursement for observing duration of tree removal, what are we gonna decide? Did we get,
You
It
ever
was
talked to him?
tabled.
no?
Table it again?
You left that on your plate. Table it.
Okay.
Make a motion table.
Okay, Alan moved, second?
Second.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Uh,
Okay. Now who's gonna talk to?
Oh, yeah,
I guess I will. We just need his hours, right?
no wage.
The wage?
He
Okay.
wants to volunteer his service if he wants.
Yeah. Update on FEMA?
All I got on FEMA is, we didn't have a phone call conversation today. We usually have one with them every Tuesday. We'll have another one next Tuesday. Right now, he seems to, that he didn't have anything new for us for today anyway. I did talk to him a bit on the phone. The tree cutters, I talked to yesterday, I didn't talk to them today, but they finished up what they were on. They did a couple, yesterday all they had left was a couple up on the main drag. And they thought they would be done by the end of the week, and so they could get their final invoices in. And we would have that.
Are they numbering the stumps, or are they,
I don't know how
Okay, I
they're
didn't know.
taking care of that. Stump wise, we only get reimbursed for cutting them. We don't get it reimbursed for grinding them
yeah,
from
yeah,
FEMA. So, where they're at right now is basically all we're gonna get, from them, the way I understand it.
how long do we have to leave the stumps?
I don't think that's up to us.
I thought they said we had to leave the stumps for,
Well, they wanted to make sure they had a count, on them, and they wanted to make sure they were all got documented. So I guess we should check with the contractors just to make sure our stump count is all in. Now we're all done. Here's the total, which would be the number of trees that was taken out. But I asked him about, somebody raised a question about being flush cut to the ground. The FEMA guy said, just cut off, we're just not gonna pay for anybody to take them below the ground.
Yeah,
The flush cut to you is dirt level, that's fine, the flush cut's a foot off the ground. We're just not gonna pay anymore
yeah,
once that tree's down, is basically what he's saying. The next thing for us is the ash pile. We probably need to burn if they're about done, or no sense in burning.
Perry just said that everything should be done tomorrow. They gotta make a final drive through town, make sure everything's picked up. It should be done tomorrow.
So then everything that we're gonna do is on the burn pile. I think that we can probably burn it. We had talked about there's 4 different ways we can deal with the ash. One of them was get it to a farmer's field. One of it was taken to a landfill. One of them was mix it with concrete as a filler. And I asked him about, I said our thoughts was, we had a farmer that would be willing to take it. It's an expense for cleaning it and sifting it and stuff. And then our other, with the rest of it, we were just gonna dig a hole and burn it. And there'll be no, or bury it, you know. And there's no way we can bury it there. We have to, he says, the easiest thing to do for you, take it to the landfill, send me the tickets, I'll stamp your paper, it's this paper, here we have to fill out the debris management form. He said, fill it out, send it to me, I'll put the permit number on, send me all your tickets, I'll send this back to you, the DNR guy, and then you can send it to FEMA. So we have to deal with the DNR for that. But he says, that's the simplest, that's the easiest, no strain, no pain, we just have to get we'll have expense in loading it and hauling it. I think would be a good idea to weigh it before we take it, so we know exactly.
No way that the landfill.
Well, they,
Scale
okay,
taken.
yeah, so I think that's a good way to track it too, but that, even if we did the farmer thing, I think that'd be a lot of expense for us. We have to have equipment and manpower to separate it and clean it, and, okay, and if we run something too big through the farmer spreader, then we would have liability issues there, so. Personally, I think just the landfill it and call it good. And that's all I got, unless Alan's got something else on the FEMA deal.
alrighty. 205 Center Street bids 4 lots.
So we ended up with 205 Center Street. They got deeded over to us. I had a thought and just throw it out there in the paper just to see if anybody was interested. Put it in there though that the house has to be removed within 90 days.
Can we do it last time?
We do it in 60 days. We can put the stipulation on it. We can put the stipulation in the house has to be removed. This way you know if somebody's interested in it, they're gonna get rid of that eyesore. Otherwise the city has to deal with it. I thought you'd just give somebody a month to see and then we work on how we're gonna take it down. Whether we use some capital improvement money, clean it up, but we did end up with it. But I thought before the city put some expense into it, why not just throw it out there and just see?
Yeah.
You know, maybe Union Auto wants it to park cars on, I don't know. But if somebody's willing to take it and tear it down, let them have it.
Is that for both lots or just one?
That'd be for 205 Center, but we could throw the other lot in there with it too, put the bid in. For purchase
Still,
of
the
both.
house would
Yeah.
have to go.
Yeah, but I think you just throw in the paper, the city's taking bids on that, the stipulation, the house has to be removed within 60 days.
Yeah,
And bids have to be in by the next meeting.
yeah, I think it's a good idea. Would you like to do a make motion on that, to put it
Well,
up
I
for
would
bids?
say, I would say so.
I make the first motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call, Tom Bays,
Here,
Alan Donaldson,
Yes?
Andrew Clevens absent, Cindy Clevens,
Yes.
Andy Wade.
Yes.
All right, done deal. Okay, you wanna get that?
Yeah, I'll try to, I have to, it isn't recorded yet, so I'll have to call, I
Oh.
checked Beacon, you know, but they evidently aren't, I don't know how long it takes. You wouldn't think it'd take very long, but I'll call and see what's up.
Okay, alley fence repair, 800 block of 4th Street.
Tom and I were so excited that we got 205 Center, we forgot all about asking Kaplan about that.
yeah,
We did, walked out of his office and got
you're
halfway
doing the
back.
dance of joy.
Oh, so,
We need to just
Do
call
we know-
him, no, we just need to call him. I'm looking for pictures because somebody out there has pictures of that fence. I just haven't been able to get a hold of those people.
oh, it used to live there,
Correct.
yeah, okay,
I believe the fence was damaged prior to
yeah.
everything else.
I'm pretty sure it was.
But I'm looking for
Well, is it-
pictures.
Is it city property?
Yes.
It looks like it is, but I think you're gonna fall into the rule that it's been there so long. It's gonna be grandfathered in that,
It's
too bad
theirs?
that it's on, well, no, they won't get the property, but it's gonna be too bad it's on city property. I don't know if we can just go remove it.
Oh, well, that was
So,
gonna be my
that was what we need,
question,
well, nothing else, we need to email off to Kaplan, give him the coordinates so he can look.
okay.
But we should try to follow through on the quit claim for that alley that got started. Had that been followed through with, we wouldn't be having this discussion. And there's a couple other alleyways.
I think anything that is not a city-maintained alley needs to be done away. Go
Give-
back to the
Yeah,
property
this
owners.
quit claim
Well, you
deed,
you gotta
Well, I
take bids
get-
on it.
Why?
You can't just give it, it's city property, you've gotta take a bid on it.
Well, I thought it was $1.
You gotta take a bid, so each adjoining property owner wants to get in a fight over it.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I thought that the adjoining property owners each had their choice of taking half. That was
I
split
thought they
out
had
half.
to take bids on it. I
I
know we had
never
to take,
heard about taking
we
bids.
took bids on the water tower property.
That wasn't considered an alley though.
It's still city property. Alleys are still city property.
Yeah, I don't know about that, it's a good question.
We can ask
for a
Kaplan
lawyer.
too, and yeah, we probably should get a
But I
list
know
together.
there's an alley behind Todd Spikers that came up that needs to be the half of the alley. The other
Probably just
half-
need to make a list of,
But yeah, I think we should deal with all of them.
Well, your
Whether we have
granddad
to-
and I did that one year and then somebody dropped the ball and nothing ever got handled.
Yeah,
we've done about 4 times that way.
Yeah.
yeah.
okay. All right, well, moving on then. So we'll send a letter to Kaplan on
Just
that?
email Kaplan and question
So
it.
just discussion on the election.
Yeah.
Yeah, email Kaplan this action.
Dump truck replacement,
That's a big.
well, we have a
So
dump
we
truck,
can
but it doesn't
push,
dump.
we can push snow, but we can't haul snow. The pin, the main pin that holds the hoist, snapped in two, and it's not worth fixing.
It wasn't entirely John's fault.
It wasn't his fault at all.
It was
Just,
cold.
Yeah.
I've looked all over, I mean, I found some trucks. I guess we gotta decide, do we wanna go back to? We can push snow, we can finish this year, we can figure out what we can do with the snow, whether we hire somebody to come in if it snows again to haul it off. We can get through this year, but we have to do something. So we gotta decide, do you wanna go back to a big plow truck like that? Do we wanna go down to a ton ton-and-a-half pickup with a dump style box on it and buy a new one and buy a new snow blade? Or do you wanna keep the small truck and buy a big truck? The big trucks like that range anywhere from 16 to 60,000. And it all depends on what it's got on it. My one thought is if we buy a new truck, say a small 550 or something with a dump box on it and put a new blade on it, now you've got a brand new sander, a brand new plow, a brand new pickup, and an almost new tractor that shouldn't have to spend any money on that end of things. Otherwise, you go spend, regardless, you gotta spend the money. I just had Nathan show me some stuff, like a pickup just like we have right now is like 34,000 out the door. And they keep going up from there, like the 550 with no box on it is 38. I guess you're gonna put another 20 into a box. I don't know. Or you just use the tractor and the pickup to push all the snow and you contract out the hauling off. Problem there is, I bet you're talking $100 an hour for a dump truck to come to town. You know, there's $1,000 a time. I guarantee I'll take 10 hours to do everything. And if we're loading, then you got the liability of running into somebody's truck. And if you have them load, you're gonna double that expense. You'll spend $2,500 every time you remove snow. So we gotta think about something. I don't know what the answer is.
Yes, you do.
I really don't. There's money in capital improvement, but we also have other areas to spend money. So it's just something I guess we gotta talk about, think about, figure out what we wanna do.
Well, is there a way that we can get a couple of options put together? Let's get some numbers. Let's run a package. Okay, here's an option 1. Here's option 2, and here's option 3. Can we look at that? Can we take a little combination of these two, build another option? Can we, in that way, at least we're looking at something. We're moving forward. We'll get a dump box priced out. We can look at getting, you know, if we sell the red truck, is there value there? Do we keep the red truck for the everyday driver and the regular city maintenance stuff? Put a couple of gizmos together and then we can bring it, or you can bring it, present it.
Work on that.
I know you don't have all the time in the world, but I'll help wherever I can as far as research. You know, that way at least we got it, we can look at numbers.
No, I'll put something together and make some phone calls.
Perfect. Betterment Committee disbanded. Holiday decorations and flags display now. City responsibility. Shipping container purchase.
Does that mean
Sounds to me like we're responsible for all decorations and flags.
putting them up and installing them and everything?
Putting them up, taking them down, and I talked to John, and he said that they could be stored at the city shed. There'd be a place
There's
down
not
there.
enough for
We really need a
We
storage
either have to
container.
buy-
We gotta get that shipping
Yeah.
container purchased.
They're $3,200 delivered in. I know exactly what they are.
And a couple loads of rock.
If we get through, if we can get into spring, I have one, I bought one, but I don't think I'll need it after this year. I bought it when the storm went through to store a bunch of stuff in. You wouldn't have the hauling in it, but you know, I gave $3,200 to have it brought here.
Give you
cheap.
Used.
It was used when I bought it.
Can we just bring stuff up to your house and store it in?
It's not in town.
Oh.
I mean, we gotta do something down there because the city, we've got all the Tar Heel Day stuff in there, there's all the picnic tables. There's also, was donated, I think 12 or 15 8-foot-long tables that are over at the community church. They're all the betterment committees. And I know they kinda want them out of the community church, plus their thoughts were if it was accessible through the city, then if somebody wanted to borrow them for a wedding or graduation, they were just, if they made a donation, it was great, but somebody had to have access to them. I mean, they can get them from over there, but then they gotta get somebody from the community church to let them in. Granted, somebody'd have to let them into the city stuff, but then it's split up between city people, UB&A, somebody can get in there again. But there was just a ton of room taken up by that stuff.
Yeah. And that's one reason we talked about it anyway, was getting that. Now all the more reason
Yeah.
to move forward with that.
'Cause I think you can put it right on the west edge of the shed with some, level up some rock there, but it does have to be level, because the doors do not open and close if it's not level right.
Yeah, but are we gonna be able to wait until spring?
I think if you get a plan together and you tell everybody that, Heart of Iowa, I'm sure will keep all that stuff until spring. They can take it back down.
Is that who's got it all now?
That's Heart of Iowa stored that stuff for a while.
And the church, that between the two.
Correct.
Okay. Well, that just means you gotta have it cleaned out.
You don't have to buy mine, I just said there's one close. I don't care.
Well, up to you guys what you wanna do. Well, we can table it, or we
I mean,
can,
I say before spring, we've gotta buy one, we gotta figure out where we wanna set it, if we want a 40-footer or a 20-footer, but I don't think you have the option for a 20. It's
No,
not.
it's gotta be
you
a 40.
yeah, it's gotta be 40.
Yeah.
And the UVA said they would pay for half of it since they were using it.
Did we vote on this
Yeah,
already?
but they're
To purchase one?
disbanded, aren't they?
I think all they're doing is getting rid of taking care of the stuff.
Responsibilities.
They're not having the, they're still gonna be there, they're just not having the
Oh, I
responsibility of the
thought they
lights.
were disbanded.
They have a little money, I think.
Okay,
How big's the one you have? 40 foot? Up to you
Which I
guys.
don't care what we do.
Well, we need to decide.
I guess we do need to talk to UVA and see if they're totally done, or if it's just the decoration. 'Cause the way it's up there, they're done. But I don't see that, because that's who takes care of Target.
Say Deanna just left,
Yeah,
wouldn't she?
Diana take care of Target Days kind of.
Well,
Let's find out what their plan is, and let's decide what we wanna buy. If somebody wants to look around and find prices on them, containers, that's fine. Find prices on building, or adding on,
oh, I think a container's gonna be way cheaper than building.
because you might even be able to turn it, if we got rid of some of that stuff. I have to look. Table it till next week, we'll have some solid prices next month, and I'll find out if they're totally done, or if they're still willing to kick in the money. Good motion to table.
I second.
All those in favor say aye. Okay. Equipment purchased from Hardin County.
Make a motion to purchase. 2 snowplows,
blades, right.
please.
I know when he said that, I thought he bought two snow. What are we gonna do with two snow? What's that, have racing? He was just, too much information.
So was it not just information? Okay, and then committees. Tom and I will get together and we'll get this committees and, then, well, we'll have it done for next Tuesday. I don't know. That probably won't be a part of it, but,
I'll give a special meeting.
yeah, we'll just do the
Yeah,
budget
I-
next week.
Yeah, I think maybe.
Tom and I will have it, we'll have it before next month. Committees. So. Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Okay.